I let ram ra 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 ma te ya ma ma na na ma oh from Ezra Amaya Mamoyina Mama Tia Mamaya Yina Nam it's you.
I was wondering
This Farbrengen was actually inspired by your davening, because when you daven Yossi and you made a mistake in the word in Shemona Esrei, and you said the words in Shemona Esrei, the correct words are, "Blessed you are Hashem, Goyel Yisrael," the Redeemer of the Jewish people, the one who redeems the Jewish people. And the way you said it was, Baruch Atah Hashem, Goal Yisrael, the one who redeemed the Jewish people. And I pointed out to you that the right word was different. And yes, it's true that there is another place in davening where it does say the word Goal Yisrael. That's right before Shemona Esrei, Hashem who redeemed us. But in Shemona Esrei, when we say the words in Shemona Esrei, the correct way of saying it is Goyel Yisrael, one who redeems the Jewish people. And the reason, remember the reason for the difference?
The reason is because he redeemed us out of Egypt, and that he's going to redeem us during the times of Mashiach.
Yes, and more. Yes, and more. Goal Yisrael, who Hashem redeemed us already, is referring to Hashem the Cashapp Mitzrayim. Goyel Yisrael, the one who redeems the Jewish people, refers to the coming of Mashiach. That's true, but it also refers to the mini redemptions that each of us has, different challenges each of us has. Hashem takes out of our personal smaller challenges that we have. Goal is what happened in the past, and Goyel is what's happening, what's present. Now you have your things going on in your life, I have things going on in my life. Everyone has challenges. And we say a bracha every day, 3 times a day, blessed are you, God, who redeems the Jewish people. Because everyone has the things that bring them down and don't allow us to be who we're supposed to be. Today is called the Day of Redemption. Today is the day when the previous Rebbe was, God forbid, sentenced to be shot, and they changed the decree against the Frierdiker Rebbe. And it's not only did they not shoot him, God forbid, but they totally freed him from prison and sent him to exile to Cashapp. And although he wasn't free to go, he was sent in exile to the city, it wasn't the full redemption. He was still in Cashapp. He wasn't allowed to do whatever he wants to do, but it was a beginning, and it caused something positive to happen later. The nigun that we were just singing is called the nigun of Gimmel Taamuz. It's actually the nigun has 2 kinds of energy in it. You hear in the song that something good's happening. It's good. But here, it's not great. It's good, but it ain't great. It's a start. You're on the right direction, but you're not there yet. Goal Yisrael, Hashem took us out, and He's taking us out, but we haven't yet arrived. We haven't yet arrived where we want to get to. That's what nigun means. We trust in Hashem. We believe in Hashem 100% that we're going to get there, but we haven't gotten there yet. That's what this nigun means. And that's what the day of Gimmel Taamuz is. It's the beginning of redemption. Previous Rebbe started to be redeemed, but he wasn't fully redeemed. This expression, beginning of redemption, is a phrase people use, unfortunately, for things which aren't really the beginning of redemption. People thought that different events in Jewish history were the beginning of redemption. They thought that when this thing happens, that means that's already this. That's not just a preparation for Mashiach, not just something that will happen before. They thought that's already ready Mashiach. Different things in different events in history in our generation, many people misinterpreted as Mashiach has already started. As Mashiach has already arrived, but it's not really true. Mashiach hasn't yet arrived. Waiting for Mashiach physically. However, there is already a beginning of redemption spiritually. Not only is there already a beginning of redemption spiritually, but this already began many years ago. Already, it says in the pasuk, "Chasav Hashem Ezreya Kodshe." God bared His arm. That's the word in the pasuk. God bared His holy arm. That pasuk is a pasuk which is expressing how Hashem reveals Himself. And Chasav Ezreya Kodshe means that God sends the Jewish people, tzaddikim, holy people, that allow the Jewish people to experience Hashem in a very real way. God bared His holy arm. What that really means is that Hashem reveals Himself to us. So Goyel Yisrael, Hashem redeems the Jewish people. How does Hashem redeem us? Hashem redeems us by revealing Himself to us. Yeah, let's spread it out a little bit. Hashem redeems us by showing Himself to us. When a Jew feels Hashem's presence in his life, so then life is a lot easier. Life is a lot more. It's a different kind of life. You're living in the same physical world, but going through a whole different set of circumstances. Everything's different. In the Shema, we say, "Don't go after your heart or after your eyes." First it says heart, then it says eye. So you know why? Because the way you see things has a lot to do with how you feel. So the Torah says, don't go after the way your natural feelings are in your heart. Live higher. That's what Geula means. So today is a day of Geula. And every year on this day, it's a day which is very connected to each of us because they're connected to our Rebbe. And each year on this day, we're supposed to have a little bit of Geula. We're supposed to go get freer than we were before today. We're supposed to be freer than we were before, more connected to the Rebbe, more connected to Chosfa Avayas Rea Kodesh, more connected to Hashem's revelation to each of us. Through the tzaddikim, through the tzaddik of our generation, through the Moshe Levin of our generation, through our Rebbe, supposed to be more connected, but that's a challenge. More connected. Every year, more connected. It's not just one particular detail. More connected. This guy over here works for NASA, right? This guy works for FedEx. You could teach those people some things in NASA if they learn from FedEx. And for NASA could probably teach some stuff to the guys in FedEx too. Oh, fine. But so what the common denominator that NASA and FedEx has is that when there is something that's novel, that's discovered in NASA, it helps everything that's being done in NASA. In other words, when you are learning something in a certain wisdom, and you discover a new insight in that wisdom, it doesn't just only help you with that particular thing you discovered. It very often it gives a whole new appreciation for every single thing that you're involved in. In other words, when you get a new insight in a Gemara, you learn Gemara. You guys are in yeshiva, Bachim. You don't know about NASA or FedEx, Baruch Hashem. You know about Gemara, about Rashi, about Tesis. You never heard of Reader's Digest or anything. You only know about Gemara and Rashi Tesis. So you learn Gemara, and you learn a new insight in Gemara. So that new insight, sometimes something that's called in yeshiva world, the schlüssel to the sugya, the key to understanding a whole subject. When you get to that, the key of the subject, the key to the understanding everything, it sheds light on everything. It makes everything different. Taamuz. So, come this side. So when we talk about a new year, a new revelation, a new Gimmel Taamuz, something that's more than was before, it's not just some particular detail that we have now, some new detail that we didn't know before. It's something that elevates everything we did till now. When something's added, you have a new understanding of something in Torah, so that helps understand the whole Torah better. When you have a new understanding in something in physics, it helps understand all of physics better. And so too, when we add something today in Gimmel Taamuz, something more that we did before, it doesn't just add that particular thing that you added. but it helps everything that you're doing till now. It lifts everything up. But where should that thing be? What should we emphasize tonight? We want to connect more. We want to be closer. We want to have Goal Yisrael, Goyal Yisrael. We want to be redeemed more. We want to be freer spiritually and physically. We want to be closer. So what should we focus on? If we want to focus on something connected to our Rebbe, what should we focus on? We know that the Rebbe's Torah is as vast as the ocean, right? More. And the Rebbe's Torah is as deep as the ocean and more. And we want to connect to the Rebbe. Where do we start? So the Gemara actually says the answer. The Gemara says there was a tzaddik named Rabbi Chia, and Rabbi Chia was considered so great, greater than all the other sages. What was so great about Rabbi Chia? Rabbi Chia was the one that gave us a huge parts of the Talmud, but that wasn't his greatness. The fact that he gave us parts of the Talmud, that's also good, but wasn't his greatness. What was great about him? What was great about him was the Torah was going to be forgotten. Everyone's going to forget about the whole of Torah. And he did something that made people not forget about Torah. What did he do? He went and he planted seeds. And he grew flax. And with the flax, what do? He made nets. And with the nets, he caught, you can't catch too many fish with, no, he caught deer. He caught deer. And from the deer, he made hides. And in the hides, he wrote one book of Torah, another book of Torah. He wrote all 5 books of Torah. And then he went to a town, and he went over to 5 little children, and he said, hey, you want to learn Bereshis? I'll teach you Bereshis. Went to another child, you want to learn Shmais? I'll teach you Shmais. He taught each child a book of Torah, and then he asked each child to teach other child. After you know Bereshis, you know Shmais, so you teach him Bereshis, you teach him Shmais. And that's how and it's the Gemara says if it wasn't for him, the Torah would have been forgotten. It would have been forgotten. If it wasn't for him, the Torah would have been forgotten. So the Gemara says, how great is Chia because of what he did. Now you could have asked, Chia could have he had so many students, they could have done it for him. He could have just preoccupied himself. He wasn't even involved with something holy. He was involved with planting seeds, which is a preparation to make the nets, which is preparation to catching the deer, preparation to making the hide, preparation to writing the Torah scroll. There's so many things that could have known without his greatness. But why did he do it himself? And it shows us that, which is something the Rebbe emphasizes to each of us, and that is, you got to do things yourself. Do things yourself. And it's not about just what you think or what you feel. It's about doing something. It's about doing something. So if we were to try to connect with the Rebbe in a more deeper way, the first thing we should choose is, what that means is what are we doing differently? What are we doing? And that one thing that we'll do differently tonight that we didn't do before, that elevates everything else that was going on in our life. It's not just like we'll choose one thing that's just a detail. When you make a connection in a physical way, you do something, you decide to do something more, it makes everything else that you're doing in your life differently. You made a step forward. The word for a Jewish leader is nasi. Nasi means to be lifted up. The essence of what the Rebbe is to lift us up. So how do we get connected to the Rebbe lifting us up? What do we have to do to latch on to the Rebbe? I heard a story today. I don't think most of you heard the story. Rabbi Greenbaum shared the story today in the Zoom. Unbelievable story. Story he heard from Beshem Zarch. Stories like this. There was a great tzaddik, and he sends a message to someone night before Pesach. The message he sends to him is, you gotta go get rid of the chametz in your house. All right, get rid of the chametz in his house. But he searched for chametz already. But this rabbi is saying he has to search for chametz. He wasn't really such a chassidically inclined person. He wasn't such a chassidically inclined person. It didn't really make sense to him that he's going to go search for chametz in his house. He already searched for it. But he heard this rabbi said he should search for it. It's a weird thing. Imagine someone walks in your house, even if someone weird walks in, knocks there, there's chametz in your house. You start thinking, well, maybe there is. So he's okay, I'll try. He goes through his whole house, and once again, there's no chametz. So, sure enough, an hour later, the gabbai, the student, the chassid of this particular tzaddik comes back. He says, "There's chametz in your house." He says, "What do you mean chametz in your house?" I checked my whole house. Check this particular room. Check Yankel's bedroom. In Yankel's bedroom, there's chametz. Okay. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? Should I not? All right, he goes and he checks Yankel's bedroom. And he looks to Yankel's bedroom, nothing. Now he's already getting angry at himself. Why did he listen to this guy for? And he worked so hard. He went again to do this. It's ridiculous. Why do you do this? What does this even mean? Anyways, the gabbai, this chassid, the gabbai of this rebbe, this tzaddik, comes back to him again, and he says to him, the rebbe says that in Yankel's bedroom, the chametz is on the third shelf of where he keeps his toys. All right, third shelf. Should I even do this? Should I even listen to him? Did I listen to? And he goes to third, and sure enough, over there's a pack of biscuit, whatever there was, and he is astonished, and he tasked the gabbai, "Can you please ask your rebbe? Please ask a type of question. If he knew where the chametz was, why did he just tell me where it was? Why did he do this whole back and forth? And he had to look here and look there and look there and look here and look there. And what's going on? Let me make it fair. If he sees the things, let me know about it. You know. So the tzaddik responded like this: "Just listen. I wasn't given insight into where the chametz was because you're not my chassid. You're not my student. You're not connected to me so much." So I couldn't really see what was going on. I couldn't really see what's going on by you because you're not so connected. But when you went and you listened to me and you searched for chametz in your house, you opened up a tiny bond between me and you. And that tiny bond allowed me to see more deeper into you and more connected deeper with you and to help you and all I saw was this chametz somewhere in the city, this chametz in your house, but I didn't know where. But when you went again and you searched in Yankel's room, that made a deeper bond, a closer bond, that opened up a connection between us. And then I was able to go deeper, and I was able to find more, and then I was able to finally tell you what's going on. So what it means is that Hashem grants a tzaddik a vision, but for that vision and that light, that tzaddik, for our lives to be lichtiker, our lives to be more luminous, to have more geula in ourselves, and to be more alive and more warm and more connected to the tzaddik, we got to do. So there's one thing that we know we want to come out way with tonight is doing something more. The Rebbe taught so much chassidus, but number one, you see that by the Rebbe, by the previous Rebbe, the number one thing is action. Action. What are we doing? What are we actually doing? Not just we deciding, feeling. What do we actually? Let's say l'chaim. I'll take a decision tonight to add in something. Each of us on a level, whatever it is, something more in the Rebbe, what the Rebbe wants from each of us. L'chaim, l'chaim, v'rach. L'chaim, l'chaim. Only you say l'chaim if you're doing it, man. You're doing it. L'chaim, v'rach. L'chaim, l'chaim, v'rach. There's Nigni supposed to sing on Gimmel Taamuz. Nigni's Bais Bezalel. Let's go for it, guys. Let's do it. Pada v'shalom nafshi mikrav li ki v'ravi hoyu. You have a juice box for this? My battery's running out. Pada v'shalom. Huh? Nashi. No, I mean you have a power charger thing that can touch it.
But that one's not charged. I do. It's not charged either. I have it in the car.
Okay, you do? Ki v'ramim hayu imani yishmakel v'yanei v'yoshev kedem sela kel v'yanei v'yoshev kedem Asherein Khalifa Islamai, Asherein Khalifa Islamai, Vila Yaro Elohim, La Yaro Elohim, Shalach Yodeh, Bishleimav Chileh. Chilel, Chilel v'risay, Chok u'machmois pivu krov limei, Rakul Varam Nishem and Vehem Psichais. I hash lechal Hashem Yehavecha Vehu Yechakelecha Leiten Leila Meitla Tzadik Meitla Tzadik Viato Elokim Toiri Deim Lever Shachas Viato Elokim Toiri Deim Lever Shachas Anshe damim umirma la yektu yemehem Anshe damim.
Trying to make you speak of you. Is that what you trying to make yourself
How do you mute it or whatever?
What?
How do you mute it?
How do you mute who?
And myself.
How do you what?
Vani eftach
Make
bach,
you speak of you, so when you swipe it, you're the only guy there.
eftach bach, vani eftach bach, vani eftach.
Take it out.
Ni eftach bach, vani eftach bach. Boch eftach boch vani eftach boch vani eftach boch eftach boch vani eftach boch vani eftach boch Vani eftach boch, vani eftach boch, eftach boch. It's Hashem, tomorrow morning after davening, it's customary to write a letter to the Rebbe. And I just want to explain a little bit what that means, writing a letter to the Rebbe. Writing a letter to the Rebbe really means writing a letter to Hashem. The Rebbe is the Moshe of the every generation has someone like Moshe Rabbeinu, and the Moshe Rabbeinu of the generation is called the servant of Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu isn't a entity for himself. Moshe Rabbeinu is just a servant of Hashem. He is nothing to himself. The whole existence of Moshe Rabbeinu is just to serve Hashem. He's not a separate entity. He's just about serving Hashem. That's all Moshe Rabbeinu is. He's nothing more or less than just a servant of Hashem. So writing a letter to the Rebbe means you're asking the Rebbe to daven for you. You're writing the letter to the Rebbe. The Rebbe should pray for you to Hashem. That's the meaning of writing a letter to the Rebbe. But there's a nuance here. There's a specific custom of writing a letter to the Rebbe should daven for you. It says in Gemara that if there's someone sick, God forbid, in your house, you should go to the Chacham, to the wise man in the city, and you should ask Rachamim, you should ask for Rachmanis for this particular person who is sick. If someone's shalom sick in your house, go to the wise men in the city and ask Rachmanis and ask him to pray for the person who's sick in your house. The idea of the wise man in the city is the one who knows your neshama very well. He's a wise man of your city. Not just some wise man. He's a wise man of your city. He could see what's going on in you. Writing a letter to the Rebbe means that you realize that this is not just a tzaddik, a Rebbe, a holy man, but it's someone who has connection to you and cares about you and wants to respond to you because he cares about you. I'm sure you all heard the story about Mendel Futerfas. Mendel Futerfas, we started the Farbrengen before with Moshe and I discussing how many people do you need to have a Farbrengen. I was once actually in 770. It was actually the 12th of Taamuz. Rabbi Grevich from here, his father was visiting 770, and he was speaking, and I don't know what the reason was, but the Farbrengen didn't really take off, and he really came, at that time he was living in Russia. He was a very unique person. He left Russia. He was living in Russia in the hard times. Rabbi Garevich, I think his sister didn't know what Shabbos was growing up, because the parents were afraid to tell the children too many things about Judaism, because imagine a child doesn't go to school on Shabbos, and the teacher says, "Why don't you go to school?" And the kid says, "Because it's Shabbos." That's it. The father will be sent to Siberia, and the children we put into an orphanage. They're really living in a very, very dangerous time. Anyway, so Rabbi Garevich's father, after leaving Russia, right after the doors to Russia opened, he went back to Russia to serve as a Rebbe's emissary in Russia. He's a very unique man. Anyway, so he was visiting 770, and he's very excited about this day, and he didn't have anyone to talk to. I said to him, "How many people do you need to make a Farbrengen?" He said, "Two." Oh, two people can make a Farbrengen. And the truth is, what he said is Hasicha, the Rebbe said the same thing. Everyone said, why by a Farbrengen does it say, when you say by a Farbrengen, it says, can accomplish more than Malach Machal can accomplish, more than the angel Machal can accomplish, more than that angel can accomplish, sitting together wishing each other well, accomplishes more than Malach Machal. Why does it accomplish so much? So the reason it accomplishes so much is because of the great pleasure God has by a Farbrengen. It's not because of the Shechina, not because the Shechina is there, not because there's 10 people, and the 10 people cause the Shechina to be there. Because it says in Gemara, when you ever have 10 people, the Shechina is there. It's not because of the Shechina. I know Yossi is counting everybody. He's thinking if you have 10 people. No, we don't have 10 people. It's still a Farbrengen, because a Farbrengen is not about 10 people. What's a Farbrengen about? We can't Zoom people, we can count it as 10, but that's not what a Farbrengen is. The Farbrengen is that two people let go of their own persona, their own the ideas, and they unite together, get closer together. And really, you can't get closer together as a person, a soul, and the body, because you're different than everybody else. So how can you really connect with anybody else? You have to let go of yourself. You have to go back to your neshama. In Gan Eden, we're all one. In Gan Eden, we're all brothers. So when two Jews connect to each other, you know what that really means? They let go of the way they think, let go of the way they feel, and they go back to Gan Eden. That's what connection means. Jew connect another Jew is going to Gan Eden. And God has so much satisfaction when he sees two of his kids come home. My kids are home. Oh, what do you guys want? Whatever you want, I'll give you. That's what a Farbrengen is. The Farbrengen is you connect with people, and you let go of the Avas Yisrael with love and unity and oneness. And that love is what causes Hashem so much satisfaction. It's like, what do you guys want? Oh, say l'chaim, I'll give you whatever you want. L'chaim l'vracha, l'chaim, l'chaim l'vracha. So Farbrengen is just people sing together. Farbrengen is ready for Farbrengen. So tomorrow we're going to write Rebbe, and it's a preparation. Really, the Farbrengen is preparation to what we need to do tomorrow. But why Rebbe is something that's unique to each of us. That each of us writes not to a Rebbe, not to the Rebbe. I write to my Rebbe, and you write to your Rebbe. It's your Rebbe. What do I mean by it's your Rebbe? So Mendel Futterfass, he told me the story. I got into this because I said Mendel Futterfass. He told me the story of Mendel Futterfass, how he wrote Letter to Rebbe. You probably heard the story before, but I heard it from him directly, and he told me what happened. Because he heard it from Mendel himself. You may have heard the story before, but here is a first-hand account from Rabbi Garevich. He said that Mendel Futterfass was arrested, and he was having a very hard time in a prison cell, arrested by the KGB. It's not fun. It's worse than with the greatest challenges we probably had is going to Magic Mountain on a roller coaster, So it's a little harder than that going to KGB prison cell. So I know you like roller coasters, not so bad, whatever. But everyone has different challenges. Either way, he was put with the worst criminals. He was accused of being a counter-revolutionary, the Russian Revolution, the Bolsheviks, right? He was against what the government was doing because he was teaching Torah. And so they put him with the worst criminals. He was sitting with the worst criminals, and he's trying to trying to connect to Hashem, trying to feel like himself. In the few moments he has when they're not working with the backbreaking labor over there, and he wants to sing a niggin. He starts singing a niggin. One of the murderers tells him, Futterfass, you sing another bar, and I'm going to kill you. So he couldn't even sing. He not only didn't have any Torah books, not only did he had nothing, and he felt he has to write a letter to the Rebbe. But how is he going to write a letter to the Rebbe? So what he decided to do, he stopped and he thought and he pictured all of his concentration on the Rebbe, and he had all his concentration on the Rebbe. He said, he asked the Rebbe. He pictured writing a letter to the Rebbe in his mind. He asked Rebbe for a bracha. That's what happened. He asked Rebbe for a bracha. It was a lag ba'omer, and that's what happened. He was in Russia in prison for many years. Eventually left prison. I think it was in 1958 he left prison. A little later. I don't know how old he was, but he was already he was already married with children when he was in prison. What happened was, very briefly, Randall Futafas, he was involved in making false passports for people, to help people get out of Russia. And he made many false passports and helped many people leave Russia. He felt that KGB was closing in on him, and he felt that they would arrest him as well. And he was thinking like he should try to escape as well. So he asked one of his friends. Doesn't sound like such a good friend, but this is a real good friend of his. His friend's name was Rabbi Cohen. He asked Rabbi Cohen, should I stop and leave because they're going to catch me? Rabbi Cohen looks him at Randall Futafas. He says, Mendel, look me in the eyes. He says, Mendel, you're saying that sacrifice for God has a limit. You understand what he said?
Yeah.
so Mendel's like, I guess I gotta stay. But then he said, I'll ask my mom instead. He went to his mother. His mother wasn't any better. He went to his mother. He asked his mother, should I leave or should I stay? If I stay, they're gonna catch me. So the mother said to him, in Gemara and Bav Metzia, what kind of mother knows about very knowledgeable. It says in Gemara Bav Metzia that if you see a lost object in the street, you're obligated to return it. Why you have to return it? It says in the Torah there's two commandments. One is you cannot ignore a lost object, leisuch lesalim. Another commandment is hasher teshivim, you have to return the lost object. What if you pick up the object and then you decide not to return it? Then you're transgressing a third commandment, which is thou shalt not steal. Once you pick it up, you're transgressing a third commandment. Until you pick it up, you're only transgressing two commandments. Once you pick it up, you're transgressing thou shalt not steal. So his mother said, it's just like stealing already. You already started. You can't stop. So he, she also went to jail. Mumasar was his mother. So he was imprisoned for many years, and when his wife and children managed to escape, they went to London, and he went to London as well. In fact, actually his yard site, Mendel Futafas' yard site is tomorrow night, the fourth day of Taamuz. So anyway, Mendel Futafas, when he was he came to London, and he met his family. His wife said this interesting letter came from the Rebbe. The letter said, I got your letter from Lag Baimer. And he was thinking, what letter from Lag Baimer? And he realized, he realized the date that the Rebbe said, I received your letter. That date was the day he wrote a letter to the Rebbe in his mind. Now, when you and I hear the story, what do we think? Genius. I think genius. I think Superman. I think, whoa, Superman. I mean, Superman and Zelle kryptonite, and he could do these amazing things. Wow, he can communicate with the Rebbe, with his soul. That's great. That's what I think. I want to tell you another story. The story happened to a guy from Massachusetts. I'm from Massachusetts, so I received your request for a bracha, and I give you my bracha. The answer is that he got out eventually, and all the things that happened to him were he's able to leave the Rebbe. Yeah. So Rabbi Solj Darren, he's an emissary of the Rebbe in Longmeadow, Massachusetts. No, where is he now? Connecticut, Stanford. They used to be in Amherst. When we first started off in Amherst, so he made a big event, and he invited lots of people. Made a big concert, and he was really worried because he rented this huge place, and no one showed up. Now no one showed up. Oh, you know the story.
Yeah.
Oh, so very. I'll say it briefly. So no one got. I think he had 87 tickets that were sold. It was a huge hall, but it ended up being incredibly sick because the day of, people came and they bought tickets there. There's thousands of people there. It was amazing. So his grandmother was there, and his grandmother went to the Rebbe shortly afterwards, and the Rebbe asked her all details of the concert, and the Rebbe was sitting back in his chair, and the Rebbe was listening to all different details, and the Rebbe said to her, Rebbe asked details, were the city dignitaries there, were there politicians there, and the music, and And Rebbe asked her, and how many people were there? She says, over 1,000. Rebbe said, over 1,000? Oh, I missed the part, I missed the punchline. Rebbe Sol Darren, he was so upset that he said to himself, the Shabbos before the event was on a Sunday, he said to himself, the Shabbos, I heard the story from him today on Zoom, he said the story by Farbrengen. On the Shabbos before, he was sitting there in his room, in his Shabbos, and he's thinking, if I could only be like a mental futafas, if only I was a chassid like him, then I would write a letter to him in my mind. If only I could be like him, I would do that. That's what he said to himself. The next day, this event happens, and his grandmother right away goes to the Rebbe in an audience that night. That night she was in an audience by the Rebbe, and Rebbe asked her all these questions. And Rebbe said to her, "How many? It's 1,000 people, over 1,000 people." So Rebbe said, and Yisrael was so worried yesterday. You hear? Yisrael was so worried. So it's not Ramendel Futafas, it's not Yisrael Darren, it's Ruvi Dorn, it's Yossi Dorn, it's David Labelle. We write a letter to Rebbe. It never worked in a natural way. It never worked in a systematic way. It never worked in a way you could explain it. FedEx can't explain it and NASA can't explain it. Neither you guys. Go talk together, you're not going to explain it. How it works right out to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe is able to hear you and hear you neshama and answer you. But that's the fact. So we write the letter to the Rebbe tomorrow to realize, writing a letter to Hashem, you're asking the Rebbe to daven for you. And it's a real thing. It's a real thing, whatever's going on. Each of us has, we're important people. Each of us has an important mission. Tomorrow morning, after davening, you sit down. You should wear, it's a good thing to wear good clothing tomorrow, because tomorrow's a special day. Tonight's a special day. So it's a Shabbos day for each of us. So tomorrow after davening, Shalom Aleichem Rebbe. L'chaim, l'chaim v'rocha, everybody. L'chaim, l'chaim v'rocha.
L'chaim v'rocha.
Oh, l'chaim v'rocha. Who is that? L'chaim v'rocha. Yeah.
What you made an analogy between healing and the Upakas going the scam, not getting the healing.
Oh, once you started already, this idea of making false passports and helping people, it's like you picked up the lost object, she was saying, the mother. So therefore, don't let go. Keep on going. You have to stay. Nuravel Psanigin. Hey, ay, 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 ay,
L'chaim v'rocha.
Ay, 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 mama, 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 mama. Did mama? Oh, yeah, mama, yeah, yeah, mama, 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 yeah, mama, yeah, la, yeah, 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 la, yeah. Mama, yeah, la, yeah, la, There's two words out of today's Chumash, which they're very powerful. Today's Chumash ends with the words, "The plague stopped." That's today's Chumash. And Rashi, Shalom Aleichem Rav Zalman. Rashi, on the words "the plague stops," Rashi discussing how the plague stops. Rashi says a story. He says that Moshe Moses told Aaron that he should offer incense, and the incense will protect the Jewish people. Then he adds a whole story. After Aaron offers the incense, after Aaron HaKohen brings the Ketores, what happens next? The angel of death wants to continue doing his thing, and Aaron HaKohen, he meets the angel of death, and he tells the angel of death, he says, hold on, you got to stop. The angel of death says to Aaron, whoa, you telling me to stop? I am going to do the mission of God. So Aaron HaKohen, he says to the angel of death, hey, Moshe, oh, you learned the Chumash, very good.
No.
Huh? There you go. Moshe Rabbeinu told me to stop you. So the angel of death says, listen, you got Moses telling you one thing, I got God telling me something else. Who you listen to, Moses or God? So Aaron HaKohen responds to the angel of death and says to him, does Moshe Rabbeinu say anything from himself? Whatever Moshe Rabbeinu says is from God. Okay, no such thing as Moshe talking from himself. You don't believe me? Let's go to the tent of Moshe, because God is always present in the tent of Moshe Rabbeinu. And sure enough, the angel of death goes over there, and he is stopped, and the plague stops. Now I don't know what Chassidus says about this Rashi. It's a very deep story, obviously. There's a lot of every nuance of the story is someone knows where. If someone knows where this is discussed in Chassidus, I would appreciate it. I don't know, but it says Kol pitataya bishun pitataya deraisa tavin. All conversation isn't good. When you talk about Torah and you try to inspire yourself from Torah, even if you get it wrong, it's okay, because if you use it for inspirational purposes, you're allowed to do it even if it's wrong. So I don't know if this is right or this is wrong, but I think that it's definitely something that we could take home with. There's the angel of death, and there's a plague, and then there's a messenger of Moses. So the messenger of Moses is discouraged. Why is he discouraged? Because it looks like Hashem wants things to happen a different way than the way Moshe Rabbeinu wants things to happen. The angel of death says, "What are you doing? God has a plan, and I'm doing God's plan." Incense, ktoires, in Yiddishkeit means to do something with the deepest part of your heart. So this says the difference between the sacrifices and the incense is that sacrifices are associated with the feelings that we have to Hashem, which make us feel close to Hashem based upon understanding the greatness of Hashem. And the incense of Ktoires means something that we summon up deep within ourselves from the deepest part of our neshama. That's what Ktoires is. Ktoires is not just that you do what Hashem wants you to do. Ktoires means that you do something deepest part of your neshama. When the Rebbe gave us very specific guidelines to protect the Jewish people. Shek mezuzahs, shek tefillin, put on tefillin with other people, teach Torah to children. The 10 campaigns the Rebbe gave us to help to bring blessing, protection of all Jewish people. So you could get discouraged doing all these things and saying, well, 1 second, is it really going to work? Is it really going to stop anything? I'm doing this. I don't see that. But the key is not just to do it. The key is to do this in a way of incense. What's incense mean? Ktoires. Ktoires comes from the word kesher. Ketar and kesher, the Targum says, have the same root. I mean, not just you're doing something, but you're putting your heart into doing it with pnimis halev. So even though you have the Satan himself, thank you. Even though you have the Satan himself, you have all kinds of things which try to disturb you from doing the mission of Moshe Rabbeinu. You have to realize that Moshe Rabbeinu is telling you to do something. It's something which is coming directly from Hashem, and you have to know that it's going to be successful. And you have to know that nothing could stop you from getting what Moshe Rabbeinu wants you to do. If it's coming from Moshe Rabbeinu, it's coming also from Hashem for sure, because Moshe doesn't say anything from himself. All we need to make sure is that what we do should be with pnimius halev, to put our heart into what we're doing. You can't just we're Yetzer. I put on film with somebody. And I did something that's no, you have to put yourself into it. You have to really put yourself in your heart into what the Rebbe wants us to do. It's not enough just to do. You have to do in the way of ketores. That's what stops the plague. That we do the brach, we do what the Rebbe asks us to do, and we do this not just to fulfill our obligation to say I did it, but we do this with pnimis halev. Okay, Dan's looking at me like, what are you talking about? I'm gonna tell you a story, Dan. Another also Ben Futafas. I don't know. I can't. I didn't wipe my glasses yet. That's what it looks like with my fogged up glasses. Could be at your facial expression that says, "Yeah, yeah, good idea." Anyways, Ramendel Futafas, he said there used to be Farbrengens weren't just like an hour or 2 hours. In his time, Farbrengens were like a day. They Farbring for a day, for 2 days, all some get together, just Farbring, and they'll talk. It was a chassid, the Rebbe Marash, the fourth Rebbe of Chabad, who, when he was very wealthy, whenever there's Farbrengen, the Farbrengen would be in his house. He make the Farbrengens in his house. And one day he was off on some business trip or something, but still the Farbrengen's in his house. And he and his wife weren't blessed with children. The Farbrengen's in the house, and they run out of food for the Farbrengen, and they want some more food to continue Farbrengen. It wasn't that they were into the food; they were into getting together and say they were a different kind of people than us. For us, it would be about the food. For them, it was about the Farbrengen, about whatever. Just go with me, guys. That's what was on their mind. All right. So they go to the guy's wife and knock on the door. Is there any more food? So she realizes the opportunity. So she says, well, there is food on condition that I get a blessing from all of you to have children. So the chas is like, listen, there's an address for blessings. The address is the Rebbe. We're just chassidim. We don't know how to do these kind of things. You're asking the wrong people. All right, she says, so there's no mashke for you, and there's no farbaisen, no alcohol, and no food. So they saw this was getting serious. so the chassidim said, all right, we'll do something. And the Randall Futafas had the story, so they straightened out their casket, and they dusted off their tzurtuk, and they stood up all together, and they say, we give you a bracha l'chaim, we give you a bracha that you should have a child. And shortly afterwards, she became pregnant. Now her husband was a little bit upset when she became pregnant. Why was he upset? Because he had always asked the Rebbe for a blessing for children, and the Rebbe never gave him the blessing. And now these Chassidim gave him a blessing, and their blessing was fulfilled. It's hard for me to explain this to you if you're not familiar with this kind of language. But if the Rebbe is like Moshe Rabbeinu, and he says the word, like I just said in the story, whatever he says is from Hashem. So if the Rebbe didn't say it, how could the Chassidim say it? That's what this guy felt. So he went to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe said to him that really it was ordained in heaven that either when a person has a merit, as we're learning this morning in chassidus, you have a lot of merit. There's enough merit for you to get all blessings from nachas from your children, and blessings for health, and blessings for a livelihood. If you don't have enough merit, then there's a limit to what you can get. You can only get some. You can only get a blessing for parnasa, or a blessing for children, or a blessing for health. If you don't have enough, then it's limited. So I don't want to give you a blessing for children, because giving you a blessing for children would mean shortening your life. So the Chassidim don't know about this, and they gave you a blessing, and therefore you'll have a child. So he's like, so should I say Vido? Is it time to check out? So Hashem, no. The Chassidim, they said the blessing with love. They don't know what's going on, and does not hurt. Doesn't hurt. In other words, it's a different vantage point the Chassidim have, and in a way, their blessing surpasses, or not surpasses, but it has an advantage that even the blessing from the Rebbe couldn't accomplish in that particular story. So the same is also about the incense. The saying about the Rebbe's the Rebbe's shlichus, the Rebbe gives each of us a mission to do, and the important thing to do, not just to do the mission, but do in a way of incense, which means do with pnimius halei, to put our heart in what we're doing it, and it makes a difference. It changes what's going on in the world. Rabbi Shmuel Azimov was the Rebbe's emissary to France, to Paris, and to other, and he there was a time period, a lot of things were happening that weren't so good through sheeple, and the Rebbe was going every single day to the Ohel to pray at the graveside of the previous Rebbe. And the Rebbe told Rabbi Groner one day, today I'm going to go to visit my father-in-law. And the day the Rebbe visits his father-in-law, the Rebbe doesn't eat the whole day, fast. Sometimes the Rebbe will come back at 12 o'clock at night. The whole day wouldn't eat, just to pray by the Friedrich Rebbe's caver, by his grave, all day long till midnight sometimes. So the Rebbe told he has to pray because things are going on in the world, right? But then the Rebbe got a letter from Rabbi Azimov, a fax. In the letter, the Rabbi Azimov said, we got together and we decided to do A and B and C, to put on mezuzahs and to make a shabbaton and to make classes and whatever. And the Rebbe told Rabbi Groner, we don't need to go. We don't need to go. Then what happened? He's a chassid. He's not a Rebbe. He did stuff. He did stuff and it changed. It changed the need for the Rebbe to go pray at the Ohel because it was already accomplished by what. So even though he's not Moshe, he's only Aaron. Even though it's not, but a chassid is able to do something with torah, puts his heart into doing something, it makes a difference and causes a change. And Geif in the Torah today we read how the plague stopped. Let's say l'chaim together. Not just the plague should stop in the eyes of those who say it never started, but the plague should stop in a way that it never. No one should know about it. No should be refuah shlema kreva Mashiach to Cain should come take me a mamish. Chaim v'rach. How to go today, Reb Zalman? Reb Zalman, you have Nigan Reb Zalman. Moshe, where are you going? Going to NASA so fast? 5 more minutes. 5 minutes before you go to NASA. 5 more minutes. NASA and FedEx give me 5 minutes.
5 minutes, 5 minutes.
You didn't tell me that. 5 more minutes. 5 minutes.
5 more minutes. Shut up.
Such good to see you, David.
Same here.
Give us a niggin, David. What's your niggin?
No, I don't even know the name of it.
Let's give him a few bars. We'll figure it out.
I haven't heard it in so long. It's the one that you sing all the time on Shabbos.
Hey, no, similar niggin. Ay 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 ay. Ha da da la ya da na la ya da 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 ma ya na la da la ya da ma 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 da 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 la ya na ma 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 da 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 la ya da la da da ay 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 da 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 ay 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 da da hey da 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 ya ya na. Ya 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 na, ya 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 na 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 ya na 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 ya na, ya la 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 ya la ya da 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 ma 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 ma. Ay ay ya la ya da 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 ya ya la 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 ya la ya da da. Hey, ay, 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 da, da, ay, 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 da, 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 hey, da, da, ay, 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 na, da, da, ay, 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 na, da, da, ay, 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 na, 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 ma, ma, na, ha, la, 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 ya, da, da, ma. Ma 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 ma, da 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 la ya ya na, da 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 ya 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 na na ma ya na 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 ya na, da 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 la ya da da la ya da da do. Shalom, shalom aleichem shalom. You did chassidus for kids yet today? You played the Kahoot game yet today?
I tried this. I went on the roof. And I tried this one, and then it said like the game could be wrong. I copied and pasted.
Don't worry. The night is young, Mr. Shem. Before you go today, we'll hook you up. I'll make sure the pin is right, and you'll be able to go on the game. This niggin has a meaning. What does niggin mean? This niggin means you're going on the path of life. Hey, la, 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 you're going on the path of life. And then, you get a flat tire, you get stuck in a ditch. What do? So you try to get out of it. I'm trying to go. Doesn't go. What's going on? What do you need to do? There was a guy came to Rebbe, and the Rebbe asked him. Not only the Rebbe asked him, but he had in his life he had different obligations, and he felt it was just too much. He had too many overwhelming obligations that he couldn't take care of all these obligations, and he asked the Rebbe to exempt him from one of his obligations. He wanted to be exempt from one of the obligations. Like, what should I do? I need to stop one thing. What should I stop? The Rebbe told me he should continue everything he's doing. And he's like, but how? It doesn't make sense. The Rebbe said to him, let me explain this to you. I don't know the exact words, but the idea the Rebbe said to him was, the issue is that you look at reaction between people like a chemical reaction. Chemical reaction means that there's two chemicals, they touch each other, they interact with each other, and that makes a third kind of thing because of the two chemicals that interact with each other. But the truth is, the Rebbe says, that the way you should look at interaction with people is like a nuclear reaction. What do you have a nuclear reaction? In a nuclear reaction, the nucleus of something means the center of something. When that's affected, that causes a ripple effect all around. First, there's smaller circles around the nucleus. Then there's farther. Then those smaller circles make bigger circles, and they make bigger circles, farther away circles, and there's more and more reactions caused because something was affected by the very nucleus. So in the same way, the Rebbe said that when you touch somebody, even for a moment, you're touching. It's a nuclear reaction. You're changing the person himself. And therefore, the kind of impact you're having isn't just a chemical reaction where there's just one thing touching something else and then there's something else that's made. You're going to in other words, in my words, you're talking from your heart, and you're reaching another person's heart. And since you're reaching another person's heart, so it's not just that one particular thing happens, one mitzvah gets done or whatever. It's a nuclear reaction. The person has changed. Because they've changed, so this causes more and more and more reactions. So there was, in other words, telling him, don't think of all the specific tasks that you're doing and how hard it is or whatever. You have to realize that when you reach out to somebody, what you're aiming for, what you're striving for is a nuclear reaction. It's similar to what we were saying before about Ketores. Ketores means Pnimius Halev. What stopped the plague? Aaron went and brought the incense. What's incense mean? That you work to do what the Rebbe wants with the innermost part of your heart. When you speak to another person from the innermost part of your heart, what happens? You touch the innermost part of their heart. And that doesn't just make the particular mitzvah you're talking about change, but you change the person. Rabbi Dubrovsky from Texas, he once visited the Rebbe, and he brought with him from Texas a man in his synagogue who was a miner. And not a miner with a segel. And the miner told the Rebbe, he says, there's something very, very unique in my field. I want to understand better. In my field, he told the Rebbe, we dig for diamonds. And the way we dig for diamonds is we use a drill. And the tip of the drill, there's also a diamond. So how does it make sense that you're using a diamond to find diamonds? What did the Rebbe tell him? Menachem, remember? The Rebbe told him, I have a similar thing in my field. I ask my chassidim, I ask Menachem and Shalom Hakimi, and I ask Reuven Yossi Dorn to go around the world and to reach out to other Jews. They said, I hope they use their diamond to touch someone else's diamond. I hope they're talking from the deepest part of their heart, in other words, to reach another person's heart. I hope they're using their diamond to touch other person's diamond. You hear the word? It's an idea. That's even nuclear reaction. It's not just that you're putting on the Rebbe's 10 mitzvah campaigns are not about getting things done only, not about another person like Shabbos candles, it's not only another person putting on film, it's a nuclear reaction. You're talking to a person. You're talking to another person from your diamond, the part of you that cares the most, to their diamond. And that causes that other person There's a change there. There's a ripple effect because you reach the person himself because you went with ketayros. You went from within yourself. L'chaim v'racha. Chaim, we should do whatever wants from us in way of ketayros. Pimus alev. L'chaim v'racha. Reb Chaim Berel. NASA and FedEx are dismissed. All right. Okay. Oh, I don't remember who it was, but someone was speaking yesterday. I forgot who it was. He said, "Who made David HaMelech to be David HaMelech? Goliath. Because he challenged David HaMelech, that's why we look at David HaMelech as being so great. It was the challenge against David HaMelech that made us realize who David HaMelech is. Maybe not just made us realize, it also brought out within David HaMelech perhaps also his inner strength. It's interesting that this parsha this week is the parsha of Gimmel Taamuz, the parsha about Moshe Rabbeinu. What's the name of the parsha? Korach. So it's very interesting to me because it's this parsha should all be about Moshe Rabbeinu instead of about someone who went against Moshe Rabbeinu. And perhaps it's the same idea. You could tell from the way the Torah answers and defends Moshe Rabbeinu against Korach who Moshe Rabbeinu is. Without Korach, perhaps we wouldn't know who Moshe Rabbeinu is. But because of Korach attacked Moshe Rabbeinu, that gives us insight of who Moshe Rabbeinu is. What was Korach's problem with Moshe Rabbeinu? What was his thing? Right, very good. He said you made it all up. So Chassidus says there's a deeper intent of what Korach was saying. Korach was talking specifically in this week's Torah portion because of what he learned in last week's Torah portion. The spies come back, and the spies say, "We don't want to go to Israel." Why didn't they want to go to Israel? Because they wanted to live in this oasis in the clouds with the rock of Miriam, in the spiritual oasis. Why go to the physical world and be involved in the physical world? Let's just stay in this paradise with Moshe Rabbeinu, with the clouds, with the man. And what was their mistake? Hashem doesn't want us to stay in paradise. Hashem wants us to go out into the world and go into land and do mitzvahs, physical mitzvahs. Excellent. Go home for Hashem in the lowest realm. That's what Hashem wants us to do. So Korach says, okay, here's shalom. Korach says, I learned my lesson. Yosef, I'm talking to you too. I learned my lesson from last week's parsha. I paid attention in Chassidus class. The main thing is Hashem wants a home in the lowest realm. If Hashem wants a home in the lowest realm, Hashem wants physical mitzvahs. I put on tefillin, Moshe puts on tefillin. I have mezuzah, he has mezuzah. There's no difference between me and Moshe Rabbeinu. We're all the same. So why do the Jewish people need someone like Moshe Rabbeinu who has a higher kind of soul, who has more love for Hashem in a way that we can't imagine? What is that? Why is love important? Why is feeling emunah in Hashem and the level of Moshe Rabbeinu has emunah in Hashem? Why is that important? This Israeli journalist once visited the Rebbe, and she wrote about her visit. Interesting thing she said. She's a genius. She's a genius. But when it comes to matters of faith, she's a 3-year-old. This is the Rebbe. She's like a 3-year-old. Talks about emunah in Hashem. All of a sudden, the geniusness is gone. He talks about Hashem like a 3-year-old. Simple emunah. There's a similar thing in the Gemara. The Gemara says, "Peti yamachol davar." Who is the fool who believes everything? Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is called the fool who believes everything. What that means is that you can't understand Hashem. So the way we relate to Hashem is with our faith in Hashem. So anyway, so Kirach says Moshe Rabbeinu has more emunah. He has more love for Hashem. He has more fear of Hashem. So what? The main thing is mitzvahs. That's the main thing. So why do we need Moshe Rabbeinu? What's the answer? Chayri is right. Chayri, he's correct. The mitzvahs are the main thing. If mitzvahs are the main thing, you don't need Moshe Rabbeinu. So what do Moshe Rabbeinu respond to Kirach? I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Why tomorrow morning? What's going to happen the next day? Why wait till the next morning? Oh, maybe do tshuva. Let me ask you a question. How long does it take to do tshuva? A second. So why wait till the next day? Wait till tonight. You're talking during the morning. So let's talk tonight. Why is it tomorrow? What tomorrow? Huh? Sleep on it. Interesting. I don't know if any commentaries say that.
Wife.
Huh?
Has to talk to his wife.
His wife was the one who caused the problem. I don't know if you're familiar with the story, but she was the one who she saw that.
But another wife uncovered her hair to save one of them, so we'll balance it out.
All right, so it's recorded, and that was actually not. Point is that Moshe Rabbeinu, it seems, doesn't have something important that everyone else is missing. So what did he say? He said, wait till tomorrow morning. Why till tomorrow morning? I don't know if anyone says what you said about maybe he'll sleep on it. So I wonder the same thing. But the Rebbe says a different answer. The Rebbe says that, or Rashi says 2 answers. Rashi says that there's 2 reasons why he chose the word morning. One is because he wanted to tell Korach. Rashi says 2 things. One is that wait till tomorrow morning because maybe by then he'll do tshuva. Why specifically tomorrow morning? Doesn't make sense. That's the Rebbe's question. And number 2, Moshe Rabbeinu was alluding to Korach, just like there is morning and there is night, there is day and night. You can't change day into night. You can't change night into day. You can't change a kohen into a non-kohen. You can't change a non-kohen into a kohen. Hashem made whoever Hashem made is supposed to be in their position. I can't change it. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was alluding to when he said the word morning. That's. So the Rebbe explains that for the same price, Moshe Rabbeinu could have said, tonight we'll tell you. Tonight. You can't change night into today, so tonight I'll tell you who is who. Tonight you have time to do tshuva by tonight. And by saying the word tonight, you could also have alluded to him that you can't change night into today also. Why do you say specifically the morning? Oh, Reb Reuven, it's gekommen. Shalom Aleichem, Reb Reuven. Was machst du, Jonathan? So what was Moshe Rabbeinu meaning when he said wait till the morning? He could have said wait till tonight. He wanted to point out how day and night can't be changed. He could have said nighttime as well. If he wanted him to do tshuva, he could do tshuva at the nighttime as well. Why do you say tomorrow morning? An answer like this. There's 2 different ways you could do tshuva. Shalom. A person do tshuva because they're afraid of punishment. That tshuva is called a night tshuva, a dark tshuva. There's no neshama in it. I'm doing tshuva because I'm afraid of getting in trouble. I'm afraid Hashem will take away all the good things happening in my life. I better do tshuva. There's no light there. Just because I'm afraid of something. That's not a light tshuva. So Moshe told Korach, wait till the morning. He was telling Korach, Hashem doesn't just want us to do the mitzvahs. Hashem doesn't just want the dir tachtenim, as you say, Yossi. Hashem wants, what kind of dir tachtenim does he want? He wants a luminous dir. He wants a home which is full of light. He doesn't just want the physical mitzvahs by themselves. He wants the mitzvahs which are full of light. And therefore he told Korach, wait till tonight, wait till the morning. Hashem made day and Hashem made night. If you do a mitzvah without kavanah, you do a mitzvah without any intent in it, it's also a mitzvah. But when is it? But it's possible a mitzvah could also add darkness to the world. If I do a mitzvah because I want someone to say, "Oh, how special I am," because I did the mitzvah, I'm adding darkness to the world by the mitzvah itself. The mitzvah is still a mitzvah; it's a diamond, but the mitzvah is coated with this grime and dirt of my animal soul that I'm doing the mitzvah for my own self-aggrandizement, for my own arrogance. So the mitzvah is full of darkness. So Moshe told Korach, you know why you should wait till tomorrow? Why did Moshe say to wait till tomorrow morning? He's telling Korach, you have it wrong, Korach. It's not only Hashem wants a home, Hashem wants a luminous home. It's not only Hashem wants tshuva, Hashem wants tshuva of light. What's tshuva of light mean, Ruvi? Tshuva full of love, because you want Hashem. Not because you're a dark tshuva means tshuva because you're getting punished. So Moshe told Korach, wait till tomorrow morning to do tshuva. Why wait till tomorrow morning to do tshuva? Because he's telling him what kind of tshuva you should do. And that's also why Moshe told Korach about day and night. Both are mitzvahs. A mitzvah done without kavanah and mitzvah done with kavanah, all both mitzvahs. But Hashem wants a home full of light. That's why Hashem gave us Moshe Rabbeinu. Hashem gave us Moshe Rabbeinu. It's possible a person can do all mitzvahs, but not feel Hashem, but not know Hashem. What did Moshe Rabbeinu told Korach? Boker v'yoda Hashem es asher lei. Wait till the morning, and God will make known who is His. The word v'yoda havaya also means God will be known. Wait till tomorrow morning, and the idea of waiting till tomorrow morning is we want morning, we want light. Hashem wants light in the world. He wants v'yoda Hashem. Hashem wants to be known, and that's why Hashem gave us a tzaddik who reveals to us the deepest secrets of the Torah, who reveals to us the deepest secrets of ourselves that we don't know about in ourselves. The purpose of this is that there should be light in the world. So it's not enough that the spies got it wrong and Korach got it wrong. The spies got it wrong. They said, oh, it's enough just to have kavanah, it's enough to have holy kavanas, holy thoughts. No, Hashem wants mitzvahs. But Korach also got it wrong. Korach said, all you have to do is mitzvahs. Mitzvahs is the main thing. You don't have to have Moshe Rabbeinu. No. Hashem wants to do mitzvahs, but what kind of mitzvahs? Light. Oh, word. That's exactly what Hashem wants. Hashem wants the mitzvahs full, and therefore we need Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what Hashem gave us a Rebbe. That we should do mitzvahs and make a home for Hashem that's full of lichtigkeit. Chaim v'vracha. Ki yonu amecha. What?
Da 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 da.
Ayanu bonecha v'yatovinu. Ayanu avodecha v'yato adinenu. Ayanu yeolecha v'yato chilkeinu. Mama 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 hey yeah yeah na na mo yeah na na mo yeah na na mo na na mo na na mo na na oh na 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 yeah 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 na na mo yeah na na mo na na mo na na mo na na mo na na ma 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 mo na 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 did it oh da 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 ma 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 na na ma 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 na na no So So what are we going to take away from this Farbrengen? What's going to be different tomorrow than what's today? Ad Teshuva. Okay. What's going to happen physically in this world differently?
We're gonna make it a better place.
What are we going to do? What could we do to make this world a better place? Something begashmis we can actually do. I'm very flattered that you like this Torah and want to share it. Thank you very much. And I'm telling you, it's not my Torah, it's a word from the Rebbe, and it's certainly a good idea to do. The words that come from the heart enter the heart. Words that come from the Rebbe, which is the heart of the Jewish people, enter the heart of every Jew. It's certainly a good thing to do. But let's think about something that we're going to hold on to from this day, and we're going to keep it and to stay with us. Not something we're going to hold on to. What can we hold on to? We'll do something from today. We'll hold on to it, and the Rebbe's light is going to shine in. Because I mentioned before, when you do something new, it lifts your whole. Everything is different. You add something new into your Yiddishkeit. It adds not just chayas into that thing you decide to do that's new. It lifts everything else up.
Oh, this is wrong.
Avos Yisrael is a great thing, but the problem with making a chata to do Avos Yisrael, the previous Rebbe writes, someone who wants to say a lie, they speak in general terms. I'm not saying you want to say a lie. And I'm saying is that the animal soul within us could convince us that we're going to add an Avos Yisrael, but there's no way to quantify to say if I did do it or I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In order for it to be something that I have to be specific. That way I know I did it or I didn't do it. But Avos Yisrael is a very good thing. And not just a very good thing.
Learn Mashiach.
Ezra Rosen says, yes, we learn about Yanagol Mashiach. Specific thing. Learning Yanagol Mashiach. But how much? What are we going to do? There was
25 minutes
Jew,
every day.
I don't know if you saw the letter that I sent before Shabbos, but there was a Jew who told me the story himself that that he was by the Rebbe, and he told the Rebbe that the Rebbe told him, you should take from here, from 770, and use whatever you got over here for spiritual and physical blessings. That's what the Rebbe told him. Take from here for spiritual and physical blessings. So this guy was an excited guy. He told the Rebbe, I want to take the Rebbe himself with me. So the Rebbe said, if you'll take the ruchnius, take the spirituality that's here, you'll take me with you as well. You hear? Take the spirituality from here with you. You'll take me with you, and you should use me out for good things. What the Rebbe said. Now he told me, what does it mean to take the Rebbe with you? He told me he's been thinking about this for a couple of decades, so I think he's probably right. He says, it says in Tanya that ruchnius is associated with Avos Yisrael. Because what divides me and you? Our bodies. What connects us? Our neshamas, our souls. So if I care about spirituality, I care about you because we're brothers. What makes me not your brother? Because you have a different father and mother than I do. What makes us brothers? Our neshamas make us brothers. So if I care about ruchnius, care about neshamas, then we're brothers. It says in chapter 32 in Tanya. So Avos Yisrael is ruchnius. So taking the ruchnius from 770 means to have more Avos Yisrael, like you're saying. You know what we could do? There's a booklet Rebbe gave out called the Booklet of Avos Yisrael. You ever learned the booklet? No? We should learn this booklet. We should learn this booklet of Avos Yisrael. Zalman. Rav Zalman. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, Rav Zalman. Give me 5 minutes. How about 3 minutes? All right. I love you. The Rebbe once gave out this booklet of Avos Yisrael to a group of rabbis who were traveling from Israel to New York. One of the rabbis' name was Reuven Dunan. And the Rebbe wrote his signature in each of the pamphlets. The Rebbe just published this pamphlet. The Rebbe said all those who are considered spiritual mentors, if other people should learn this, everyone should learn this pamphlet. We should really learn it together. Want to learn this together? I don't know when we could. When we could learn this together, we should do it. We should do this. You make a time. I'll. Motzei Shabbos. All right, very good. The Motzei Shabbos from Kush Avos Yisrael. Excellent. Kush Avos Yisrael. This Motzei Shabbos, Mitzvah Hashem. So the Rebbe wrote his signature into each of these rabbis' booklets. The Rebbe signed them, but one of them didn't get the signature. Each of them, the Rebbe signed it. You hear shalom. The Rebbe signed each of the booklets, but the Rabbi Dunin, the Rebbe didn't sign it. And Rabbi Dunin was a very, very big chassid, and it really bothered him that everybody got a signature from the Rebbe in their booklet, but his didn't have a signature. So he took personal affront with this, and what's wrong with me? There must be a reason why the Rebbe's not signing my booklet. Must be that I am not spiritually deserving. What did I do wrong? So he sat there in the plane. First, he's very upset at himself. Then he's thinking, but the Rebbe gave me the booklet. I have to learn the booklet. I shall learn the booklet. I shall learn this. The Rebbe gave this to me. I shall learn this. He sat on the plane the whole trip to Israel, and he sat down for 6 hours, nonstop, and he learned the entire booklet. Gets to the end of the booklet, last page, the Rebbe's signature. The Rebbe didn't sign it in the beginning. The Rebbe signed it at the end. So there are some things we could do that naturally bring us closer. One of them is obviously Yisrael. So I'm glad you mentioned it. So Mitzvah Shem this month is Shabbos. When Kun Shabbos Yisrael, that's a great halacha. I'm so happy you thought of that. Great idea. All right. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim v'rach. Reuben, you don't have a niggin?
Maybe after my third L'chaim. I'm not a jukebox. Except when I want to.
There's a yid, his name is Reb George Burns, al Shalom. Reb George gesagt, there's one key to acting, and that's called sincerity. If you can fake that, you got it made. Was that a niggin? Ay did ay 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 did it ay did it ay did it ay did it ay 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 mam did it ay 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 mam did it ay 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 did it mama da mama Arada mama 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 ay ay did it mam Hoy dai la 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 mama my la 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 hoy dai la 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 ayam ayam mama yina na ma yina na mama 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 ya mama mama yina mama yina na ma yina na mama 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 Hayra ya 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 ra ma ra ho yina na na mama 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 Oh, you know, ma 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 madaram madaram. Oh, you know, na na ma 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 madaram. Did it Allah yamma, did it Allah yamma. I did it Allah yamma, ya ya did it I did it I did it did it did it Allah. Alhamdulillah, Allah, let it Allah, Allah, my did it, I did it, hit it, I did it, madam, oh, you know, mama, oh, you know, mama, oh, you did it, mama, oh, mama, ahoy, mama. Oh, yinanama. Oh, mama, ya. Oh mama 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 yina nama yina nama mama 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 mama. Hey ay 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 ram ho yina na na mama mama. Oh yina. The Matal Zion's over Shalom. Rabbi Zion's his father. We were once in the audience with the Rebbe, and he was just about to begin a new profession. I heard the story from Rabbi Simon Jacobson, heard it from Rabbi Zion's. The story is that he was about to begin a new business. The business was going to be, he was going to get into selling raincoats. He was going to become a raincoat manufacturer. So he's in the audience with the Rebbe, and he started talking to the Rebbe, he's going to become a raincoat manufacturer. So the Rebbe's here is the details. It was back and forth, all the details, what he's going to do, and why he thinks he's going to make profit from it, etc. And then the Rebbe says, it's already leaving the Rebbe's room. The Rebbe says to him, I just have one question. The question I have is, how could it be, where did you learn to become a manufacturer from? And he realized, like, uh-oh. So the Rebbe said, I'm trying to find the words. The Rebbe said to him, so he said, what does the Rebbe want? The Rebbe said, I want to know, how is it that you're able to go into a new business like this when an institution the previous Rebbe is about to close? What is the Rebbe referring to? So it's an institution of the previous Rebbe in Buffalo, and it's going to close because of the challenges that institution had. And the Rebbe said to him, how could it be that you're going to go into this business when the institution of the free, how could a boy who's educated in yeshiva of Techet Vimim just go off and to do this thing and go into making raincoats when the institution of the previous was going to close? So he right away told the Rebbe he commits to helping this institution. He went to Buffalo for a couple of years, and he work on this particular mission. There's certain things that we know naturally, certain things that we have to be conscious of, that we don't necessarily know by ourselves. But you hang around other chassidim, you rub shoulders with chassidim, and you challenge yourself, and you have a personal spiritual mashpia, a spiritual mentor. You challenge yourself, and that's what Gimmel Taamuz is about. Gimmel Taamuz is about challenging ourselves to have geula, to go where we were before, be closer to the Rebbe, get closer. Not a lot of things we think, this must be the way to go. It makes a lot of sense, but then Gimmel Taamuz is about living, being higher, deeper. Okay. Chaim Baruch. All right, I think we'll say bracha chayna v'nismech chayna. You guys can bring all night, but I think I'll take your shalik home.
Shkoyach, Rabbi.
Shkoyach. Verdichting Taamuz.
Good Yontiv, Shechayach.
Shkoyach.